Howdy everybody, David here, and this is another Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition character creation tutorial, and this particular tutorial, and actually series, is going to deal with creating a monk from level 1 to 20. Now, this first video is basically going to be level 1 monk creation, and it's going to basically go through everything step A to Z, picking our stats, explaining why we're doing this, explaining class features, not only in the first video here, but in all the other videos that will be following afterwards. And we'll be choosing our background, our equipment, basically everything that has to do from A to Z on creating a monk. So the monk is a very underrated class in D&D 5e. I'd like to do a lot of reading on the boards over at EndWorld and also at Wizards of the Coast, and a lot of people seem to think that the monk is a very underpowered class. And I really honestly, I think the opposite. I think the monk is probably the luckiest class in terms of the amount of features. The monk definitely gets the most amount of features of any class in D&D 5e. And it doesn't matter on just pure damage. It also depends on utility and other perks for the class to me. And that means that, to me, the monk is probably one of the more strong classes and more well-balanced classes throughout D&D 5e. So we're going to go ahead and get started. The first thing I like to do is name my character, and Eco is going to be my name. E-K-O-O. This is an old name that I used to have way back in the EverQuest days, like 15 years ago. Now, we already know that I'm going to go monk. We will not actually worry about the archetype in this video. Now, the monk is not in the basic rules. Not the free PDF that you can download from Wizards. It is in the player's handbook starting on page 76. Now there's about 4 or 5, 6 pages that deal with the monk, and by the time that we're done with this video, we're going to basically go over everything. Alright, so the first thing that I do is I pick my race also. My race, my name, and my class. So we're going to be a level 1 monk. We are also going to go Stout Halfling. That is going to be our race. Not your, typical type of wood elf for the high speed coupled with everything else, all the other innate speed bonuses a monk will get. I really don't worry about min-maxing, eking every single little point and statistic out. I like to have fun, and I like the RP part of D&D. I always have since I've been playing in the middle 80s, so I believe the Stout Halfling will fit Eco perfectly. And plus, the Stout Halfling gets a lot of really great racial features. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Stout Halfling. The Stout Halfling, they're a more traditional race, so they are in the player's handbook, and also they are in the free basic rules as well. And in the player's handbook, the halflings start on page 26 and go up to page 28. Stout Halfling, not the most proven choice for a monk, but nonetheless we will have fun with it. Eco will serve us well. He'll be a vicious little Ginsu knife when we're done. Okay, so the bonuses for the actual halflings, the Stout Halfling, you're going to get a bonus of +2 Dex and +2 Con. Hey, that's 2 of the 3 primary stats for the monk, so we can't really go wrong there. The other main ability score that you really want to look forward to raising up is Wisdom. That has to do with your DCs for your save DC, and also for your save DC for your key points. Now that's your major mechanic basically, is your key points for a monk. Now Dexterity, obviously that's your main stat. Constitution is more of a secondary, but if we have any kind of ability score improvements left over after we get our Dexterity and Wisdom capped out at 20, then we'll probably go ahead and take the Tough feat, and that'll really give us a lot more hit points than raising up a con score. So the Halfling is also a small creature. They move 25 feet a second, but don't let that deter you, because by level 2, you're going to be at 35 feet movement, which is going to be higher than all the other races in 5e, except for the Wood Elf. Now, the Monk gets a lot of class features. We're going to get into those in just a second, but you will be able to raise naturally, you'll be able to raise your speed up. Now, the Halfling also gets one of the best racial features in the game. It's called Lucky, and whenever you roll a 1 on an attack ability check or saving throw, you can re-roll the die and use the new roll. What is not to like about that? And you can use that every single round if you roll a 1. There's no limitations like the actual luck feat. The luck feat, you can use it 3 times a day. But the lucky racial feat for the Halfling, it's unlimited. You're also going to get Brave, which means you have advantage on saving throws versus the Frightened condition. You're also going to get Halfling Nimbleness, which is really cool, especially for being a monk. And you're going to see why now. Because what Halfling Nimbleness does is it allows you to move through a space of a creature that is of one size larger than you. So you're small. Most of the creatures you're going to be fighting are going to be medium-sized. So normally you cannot move through an enemy target. But seeing that you're a halfling with halfling nimbleness, you're going to be able to move through it, just like you're able to move through your friends or your allies. It's really a very underrated racial trait. Now, you're also going to get languages. You're going to get Common and Halfling. You can read, write, and speak, but you know, halflings do like to express their stories orally more than writing them. And then last but not least, which is a very good one starting at level 1, you're going to get Stout Resilience, and this is where you're going to have advantage on poison saving throws. Now, advantage means you roll twice, take the best roll of the 2. And you're also going to get another perk. You're going to be resistant in poison as well to resistant damage. So if you take 30 points of poison damage from the poison bolt, then you will only take 15 because you're resistant. So at level 1, this Stout Halfling is going to be really tough. Okay, so now we've gone over that. We want to make sure that we do not forget to add in our +2 dex and our +1 con. So that's the next thing that we are going to do. We are going to go ahead and choose our stats. Now, I've went ahead and decided to do a 27-point buy, and I've spent all 27 points, and we are going to go with a 8 strength. That is going to yield us a -1 modifier. We're going to start with a 15 dex, but with our halfling bonus, we are going to start with a 17, which is really nice, and that is going to give us a +3 bonus. Our constitution, we will go ahead and choose a 15, but with our halfling bonus, it is going to take us to 16 and give us another +3 bonus to the modifier. Our intelligence, we are going to start with an 8. That'll take us to -1. Wisdom, which is another important stat for the monk, we will start with a 15 here, and that will give us a +2. And last but not least, charisma, we're going to start charisma at 8 and a -1. So starting stats, we have a couple, our strength, our intelligence, and our charisma. We're going to have -1 modifiers, but it's really not going to matter. It will matter a little bit for particular saving throws, but strength is going to help us out because we're going to be proficient in strength saving throws, so we'll at least get a bonus. So as long as we don't have to worry about a lot of intelligence and charisma saving throws, we should be okay. Alright, so we've got our stats here. Now the next thing that I want to talk about is our background. The background is another very nice mechanic or another nice feature that they added into D&D 5e. This was a very, very late addition to 5e, back when it was an open playtest and the game was called D&D Next. So we've decided to go with the Urchin. Actually, no, not the Urchin. I believe we are going to go Acolyte. I decided to change my mind on that. You guys know my name is David. I always do neutral characters until I get to another one, then I will be making an evil character. So, ooh, Dave making an evil character. Not the monk, though. It will be the paladin. All right. So next, we've got pretty much our base. I want to talk about the backgrounds real quick. There's a lot of different backgrounds, from Acolyte to, I mentioned Urchin, Soldier. There's Nomad, there's Wanderer, there's Outlander, there's all kinds, Soldier, Noble, but we chose Acolyte because monks are from a monastery or a temple, so I figured the Acolyte would be a good choice. Now, whenever you choose your background, you will have to pick a couple traits: an ideal, a bond, and a flaw. Now, I chose I'm tolerant of other faiths and respect other gods, and I idolize a particular hero in my faith and refer to that person's deeds and examples for my own life. So those are my two personality traits. My ideal will be influenced by aspiration. I seek to prove myself worthy of my God's favor by matching my actions against his or her teachings. Next, my bonds will be I will do anything to protect the temple where I served. And my flaws, once I pick a goal, I become obsessed with it to the detriment of everything else in my life. So those are, as long as your character sticks to these bonds, flaws, and ideal, and your personality traits, you really should have no problem with gameplay with your DM. Now, your DM should be keeping up with these, and also, making sure that you're staying neutral as well as eco would be. Okay, so also with your background, you get several different perks. And we are going to, like I said, we're going to be doing the Acolytes. And the Acolyte, and these are in Chapter 4, and there are some also in the free basic rules as well. So the Acolyte is on page 127, and you get a couple bonus proficiencies, and I'll explain bonus proficiencies in just a second. So the Acolyte gets Insight and Religion, so we'll go ahead and check these two off real quick, and that means that we are proficient in those two types of skill checks. Now, for the Acolyte, I'll get to choose 2 more languages of my choice. Now, as the Halfling, I'm already going to get Common, I'm going to get Halfling, and let's say that I can speak Orc and Dwarf as well. Alright, so they're actually starting with 4 languages at level 1. That's actually pretty nice. Now, you get to start with equipment also. Now, you have 2 choices that you can do. You can do for the monk, you can roll 5d4 and just take that much money, or if you want to take your free equipment for the background, you can do that, and also for your class you'll get free equipment. But if you decide to roll and you get a little greedy, you'll have to take that. You do not get the free equipment for the background unless your DM, house rules it and allows you to roll and get the free equipment. But whenever you get the free equipment for both your background and your class, you usually get a little bit of starting coins, so it's really not that bad. And I really highly suggest you taking the free gear, because I've actually seen a few people in my games want to roll and get a little greedy, and they actually did not even have enough money to buy their equipment. So that actually led for some great role play right off the bat, and I love it when people try to do that and that happens. So, all right. So for starting equipment, we're just going to take the the starting equipment. Like I said, we're going to take a holy symbol. We are also going to get a prayer book and beads. What monk doesn't have that? All right. Let's try to save as much room as we can here. We're also going to get 5 sticks of incense. I think incense is spelled with a C. I think, yep, that's it. We'll also get common clothes, vestments, a monk in common clothes. That would lead for some good RP too. You could actually have fun with that. You're going to get a belt pouch, and you're going to start with 15 gold as an acolyte. So you're actually a pretty darn rich monk. So that's all of our starting equipment just for our background. Our class is going to give us basically all of our adventuring gear and weapons and armor and whatnot. So we're pretty much done here. Now don't forget, also you're going to get a feature for the Acolyte also. And as an Acolyte, you command the respect of those who share your faith, and you can perform the religious ceremonies of your deity. You and your adventuring companions can expect to receive free healing and care at a temple, shrine, or other established presence of your faith, as long as you find one. Though you must provide any material components needed for spells. Those who share your religion will support you, but only you, at a modest lifestyle. So basically, if you need a resurrection, you might actually be able to squeak one out, as long as you have those very, very, very expensive gems that you need to resurrect someone. But hey, as long as you can forego the actual fee, hey, that's a win situation right there. Alright, so we're pretty much done with our background, which is the Acolyte. Let's do one more thing. Let's go ahead and roll a D100. I've got my percentile dice right here. We are going to go to page 160 and 161 in, I believe it's chapter 5 of the Player's Handbook. And we're going to, 5th edition, there's a nice D100 trinket list. And there are just a lot of different interesting items that you can have to have flavor and give sort of like hook points for your dungeon master to create adventures around. So we're going to roll this D100 real quick, and I rolled a total of a 12, and that means that we got a small cloth doll skewered with needles. So this is also on our equipment list, a small cloth doll skewered with needles. Maybe you found this in a pew in your monastery. Maybe you found it on the door as you went out to meditate one morning. So, there is some possible adventure. Maybe you want to find the owner of this doll. Maybe you want to see why it's skewered with needles. A lot of great adventure hook points there. So the trinket section in D&D 5e, definitely a win-win situation. You can have a lot of fun. You can do more than this too. Or if you want to choose something, just choose something and put on your character sheet, and just let your dungeon master know that you have a couple possible hook points for adventure, which would actually be a lot of fun. So now we're going to go to the monk section, and we can start filling in some of our things here, our saving throws and whatnot. So we'll go ahead and we'll figure out our initiative first. Initiative in 5e is just basically your dex modifier, unless you got some kind of feat to give you a bonus. We got a +3 modifier for dex. We'll worry about armor class in just a second. Now, the class features for the monk, for your hit points, you are going to have a 1d8 for your hit dice for your class. So you have a 1d8 hit dice, you have a total of 1. Now the hit dice heals work like this in D&D 5e. As long as you can squeak out a short rest, which is 1 hour, you can expend a hit dice heal. And the higher level you go, you get 1 more for every level. So at level 1 you have 1 hit dice heal. So if you're down 5 or 6 hit points, you have no healers in your group, you're out of combat, you get an hour rest, you can expend your hit dice, and you can do a 1d8 plus your constitution modifier and get that much healed. Now, just take into consideration you have to have a short rest. And say you're level 10, you have 10 of these hit dice heals. Now say that you use all of these hit dice heals in a day. Now, when you get a long rest, you will get back half of these expended hit dice heals. So if you are level 10, you've expended all 10, you have none left, you get a long 8-hour rest, you get back 5 of your expended hit dice. Really nice. And the unfortunate thing is you only get half back, but hey, At least you get half back. Now the other thing with your hit points, you're going to start at level 1 with maximum hit points. So you can see that we have a +3 Constitution modifier, and with our D8 we'll start with a maximum of 11. Now every level after that, you have a choice of either rolling a 1d8 or you can take a 5. What we're going to do is we are not going to roll. I'm too scared to roll. I don't want to get 1, so I'm just going to go ahead and take the 5s. But just remember, your dungeon master, he or she can say, hey, look, you're going to roll every level. So my games, I let the players choose if they want to take the static 5 or roll the 1d8. So, all right, now. Proficiency bonus. Proficiency bonus works like this. It's a universal mechanic that every single class in D&D 5e gets. You start at a +2, and by level 16, you will have a maximum of +6. And you're probably wondering, well, what the heck does proficiency bonus do? Well, it does multiple things. First off, it gives you, if you are proficient in saving throws, which every class is proficient in 2 different saving throws. For the monk is proficient in strength and dexterity. So I will highlight those. And for skills, the monk is going to get to choose 2 skills from acrobatics, athletics, history, insight, religion, and stealth. So I am going to go ahead and take acrobatics because I want to be tumbling monk, and I want to take religion, which I've already got from my background. So I will go ahead and take insight. No, I'm not. I'm going to take stealth. We are going to be a nice stealthy little monk. Stealth, totally different than invisibility. Stealth is you're using the shadows to your advantage. Invisibility is magic. You basically turn invisible. They can't see you, but they can still hear footsteps, see the dust moving around or foot impressions. So totally different, guys. Stealth is not invisibility. So it has to be dim or dark for you to take advantage of that. All right. So to get back to proficiency. Proficiency bonus works for your saving throw bonuses, your skill checks, your 2 hit for your weapons, and also your any kind of spell save DC that you're needing to work on, which we will as a monk, and any spell attack bonus. So, for instance, we are proficient with strength and dexterity saving throws. We have a -1 strength modifier. So normally if we rolled a strength saving throw, it would be a d20 -1. But seeing that we are proficient in that, we will get an additional +2. So we end up going from -1 to +1. Pretty nice little perk. And then over time as you level, you will get more proficiency. Now our dexterity, we have a +3, and we will have a +5 because of our proficiency bonus. Constitution, we have a +3 modifier off the bat. Intelligence, we're at -1. Wisdom, we are at +2 because we're at a 15. And then charisma, we're at -1. So that's how proficiency bonus works. It works the same way for skill checks. Now, dexterity, we'll go ahead and fill in all of these modifiers as well. So we're +5 with this. We are +4 with this skill check because we're proficient. Intelligence, we're usually -1, but seeing that we're proficient, we'll be +1. And then dexterity, we will be a total of +5. Now, there's a lot of people forget to adjust their proficiency bonus on their saving throws and their skill checks. I've caught it on my players doing it too. So don't shortchange yourself, folks. Always remember, make a little note. Put a little sticky sheet, little yellow sticky note on your character sheet. Don't forget, adjust proficiency bonus. Alright, so we have a +2 wisdom. So we're going to go ahead and do all of our wisdom skill checks real quick. And we're going to fill all these in and get these out of the way. Now don't forget, we're going to be leveling this character up to level 20 as well. So this is going to take probably about 4 or 5 videos, but I'm really looking forward to doing this. Alright, intelligence, we have a -1, so everything that's intelligence, we'll go ahead and -1, and strength is -1. Charisma's -1. So our skill checks, we have some negative modifiers, but we should be okay. Alright, so now it looks like our skills are all done. Hit points. Passive perception works like this. Passive perception is your 10, a flat 10, sort of works the same way as in 4th edition, where it starts at a 10 and then you add in your perception. So I have a +2 perception because of my wisdom modifier, so I have a 12 passive perception. So your dungeon master uses passive perception. So if you're walking down a hall and there is a pit trap in front of you, he'll check your passive perception and do a stealth roll for the trap to see if the stealth on the trap is greater than your passive perception. If it is, then your passive perception doesn't help you. You fall into the pit, fall in the spikes, you'll be incapacitated, possibly prone, all kinds of good things. Maybe you're walking down a long hallway and there are portraits and tapestries. Maybe he'll roll a stealth check on a couple of eyeballs that are following you in a portrait, and if it rolls lower, then maybe he'll write down on a piece of paper, give it to you, or literally just tell you in front of the party and say, hey, look, you thought you just noticed a pair of eyeballs following you in that portrait to your right. So that's how passive perception works. I really like passive perception. I have since 4th edition, so really good. So now it looks like we're done here. We're in pretty good shape. So let's start choosing our equipment now for our monk. Now, like I said, we did not take the 5d4 roll. We went ahead and we're just taking the free stuff that they're giving us. So I can take a short sword or any simple weapon. I'm definitely going to take a short sword because we are going to let's talk about our proficiencies first. Actually, this is what I want to do. We are proficient in no armor, not proficient in any armor, and we'll find out why in just a second. Next, for weapons, we are proficient with simple and short swords. So that is the reason why we are going with short swords. Now, short swords are a finesse weapon, and they are also considered a martial weapon, and it's really nice that we're able to use these short swords. Now, next, we are going to be able to be proficient with one type of artisan tool or musical instrument. So let's say that we don't want an artisan tool. Let's take a musical instrument. So we'll say that we are proficient with the bagpipes. How about that? That's pretty cool. So, I mean, he's a halfling. He'd possibly play some bagpipes or maybe another instrument. So we're going to say bagpipes. Now, the equipment, we got our short sword already. The short sword is 1d6 damage. Is 1d6 damage. And also I'm going to write down here, short sword. It does piercing damage, so we'll write piercing here. It is finesse as well. Finesse means this. Finesse means that you can use the dexterity or strength modifier, whatever you choose for your short sword, whatever ability modifier you want to use. So there you go, short sword. Alright, our attack bonus, seeing that we are proficient with the short sword, we will be +2, and we will use dexterity as our modifier, so we're going to be a total of +5 at level 1. That's pretty decent to hit. For our damage modifier will be +3 because of our dexterity. Now, you do not add proficiency bonus into your damage. I've seen a lot of people add that in. You do not. You only add in your ability modifier for your damage. Unless you have a magical weapon, then you would add in that +1 as well, or if it's a +2 or 3 sword. So proficiency just gets added in to attack bonus. Next thing we get to choose is a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack. We are going to go ahead and go with the Explorer's pack, and we're going to put this down here on our equipment. Now, the Explorer's pack has a lot of good things inside of it. It has rope, it has a backpack, it has torches, it has rations, a water skin. We're not going to label all that stuff independently. I'm going to let you guys do that, but we're just going to put down and recognize that we do have equipment. So you can see we're basically covered for everything for taking the free gear. Now the last thing that we can take, well, actually what we are given are darts. So we're going to have 10 darts. All right. So we're going to write 10 times darts, and we're going to also add darts down here, because I'm eventually going to add another short sword for my 2-weapon fighting. They are also considered a light blade, which you have to have a light blade to 2-weapon fight. You cannot do long sword, short sword. You have to have light blades, unless you have the 2-weapon fighting feat, and then you can use whatever you want. So, all right, so darts, they are also a finesse weapon, so you can use strength or dex. We're going to use dex, so we're going to get the same modifiers. Now, the darts, they're 1d4, and we'll also add in +3 for damage. Now, for the darts, like I said, they're finesse, they do piercing damage, and they have a 20-foot to 60-foot range. Now, it works like this. If you throw a dart up to 20 feet, it's normal attack. So it'd be +5, d20 +5. Now, if you are going above 20 up to 60 feet, then that means that you're going to be at disadvantage. And like we mentioned earlier, disadvantage is rolling twice, taking the lowest. So just make sure you're within 20 feet. No big deal. Don't take any disadvantage rolls, because disadvantage really sucks in D&D 5e. I mean, it's a great mechanic. I love the mechanic, but rolling at disadvantage really sucks, because chances are your luck is you'll roll a crit and like a 3 for a miss. So just roll normal, guys. Get within range. It's only 20 feet. So it looks like we're pretty much done. The last thing that we need to worry about is our armor class. Now, we are going to also take a look at our class features right now for level 1. This is the last thing we're going to do, because we're almost done making our monk. So the first thing that you get at level 1 is called Unarmored Defense. This is one of the bread and butters for the monk. This is along with your key in martial arts, this is really nice. So beginning at first level, while you are wearing no armor, so you cannot wear armor while benefiting from Unarmored Defense, and you are not wielding a shield, your AC will be 10 plus the Dexterity modifier plus your Wisdom modifier. So you are going to see, as the levels go by, our armor class is going to be ridiculous. So you start with a 10, our Dexterity modifier and Wisdom modifier. So our Dexterity modifier is a 3, so that puts us at a 13, and our Wisdom modifier is a 2. So we have a 15 armor class. That's right, a 15 armor class with absolutely no armor on at all. That is really nice. Every time you get another ability modifier, it's just going to go up. So by the end, guys, we will have a 20 armor class by the time we max out our Dexterity and our Wisdom, because I will max out Dex and Wisdom for the DC, for the the key DC, and also +5 to hit and damage. It's going to be really nice. So there's our unarmored damage, our unarmored armor bonus. So the next thing you're going to get at level 1 is called martial arts. So this is where your practice of martial arts gives you mastery of combat styles that use unarmed strikes and monk weapons that you're proficient in, which are short swords, and any simple melee weapons that don't have the two-handed or heavy property. So you will gain the following benefits while you are using no weapons or the short sword or simple weapons that you're proficient in. You can, and to benefit from unarmed, this unarmed martial arts, well, the martial arts bonus, you cannot be wearing any armor and you cannot be wearing any shields. So you can see the theme here. They don't want the monks to wear any armor and shields, because it's just going to basically gimp you. So the first bonus that you're going to get is you can use your Dexterity modifier instead of Strength for the attack and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes and monk weapons. Seeing that we're already using a finesse weapon, the short sword, we don't have to worry about it. But if we decided to use just our fist, usually that would be Strength, but we don't have to worry about that. We can use Dexterity, so which is really nice. So what I'm going to do is under our weapons, I will go ahead and put Unarmed. Okay, that is an attack. Unarmed is an attack. And we are going to be +5, and it's going to be, as you can see, at level 1, your martial arts, you can look at page 77 on the matrix, you will start with a 1d4 base, and it will increase. So by level 5, your unarmed and your weapons will be a flat 1d6. Then they'll scale up to a 1d8 at level 11, and then by level 17 they'll scale to a 1d10. So not only are you going to get more unarmored movement, you are going to get more innate base damage. So all of you, like the short sword is 1d6. Now, by the time you hit level 11, your short sword is now going to do 1d8. And then it'll do 1d10 by 17th level. So your short sword is going to do more. Your unarmed strikes are going to do more continuously as you get higher. Any weapon that you use is that's really nice. It is a great perk. So coupled especially with your proficiency bonus that scales up automatically, your unarmored movements, holy cow, I mean, that is going to be great. You're going to get an additional 30 feet of unarmored movement too by the end. So as a halfling starting at 25, at the end, by level 18, you are going to have a 55 feet around movement. Wow. Just think if you got the mobility feat too, that's even going to add more on top of that. You'll be able to run circles around the whole map. It's going to be great. That's why I wanted to go with the halfling. And especially with all that movement, you can use your Halfling Nimbleness and you can move through the spaces of other medium creatures because you're small and you can go through anything that's larger than you. So anything medium, you can go right through. It's a win-win situation. Alright, so there we go. There's our unarmed. At level 1, we'll do 1d4, and then we'll add in our Dexterity modifier because martial arts allows us to do that. Okay, everybody. Last thing we have is we're going to talk about a few more bonuses. Now, whenever you take the attack action with an unarmed strike or a monk weapon on your turn, you can make one unarmed strike as a bonus action. Really nice. That is really nice. For example, if you take the attack action and attack with a quarterstaff or short sword, you can also make an unarmed strike as a bonus action, assuming you have not already taken a bonus action. Just take into consideration, you only get one bonus action around. And whenever your turn comes back up, you get another one. Same thing goes for reactions as well. So, there you go, everybody. We are done with a level 1 monk. We will go ahead and continue on in a later video, and we will level this monk. We will level Eco, our Stout Halfling, up to level 20. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. Feel free to leave a comment down below. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, feel free to. And if you want to try a monk, check out my website, tabletopping.net. I have over 840 character sheets every level for D&D 5e, every class, every archetype, every combination. Check them out, download them to your tablet, your iPhone, print them out on your PC, have fun. And guys and gals, I'll see you next time. Take it easy, and see you for the next video.